when I was in the military, I was in the Seabees, and they sent me to the Philippine Islands, and I got in on a survey crew. And the guy that was the head of our survey crew was from Laos City, and he graduated from Butte. And he kept bragging about it and all that stuff, you know. In fact, he bought a bunch of these just regular men's t-shirts, and I helped him, and we printed Montana Tech on them, and then he gave them to the natives.
Well, that's a very dedicated alumni.
Yeah.
That might be more dedicated than coming home for basketball games.
A little bit.
I'm not sure. Could they even read it?
Oh yeah, yeah, they could speak English.
Made him learn it, I suppose, before they could wear it.
I said, his name was Anderson. I said, Andy, I said, they're not gonna, that's not gonna last very long. Oh, he said it'll be there 50 years from now. Some of them will be wearing them. And then maybe they are.
Well, maybe you guys will have to take a trip to the Philippines and see if you can find
I would
any.
like to. You know, we were building a road to haul the timber out of the mountains down to a sawmill. And one morning we got up and we had to ride on this truck to go to work. And Andy said to me, look at that road. I said, yeah. I said, look at it. It just sparkled. He said, you know what that is? And I said, no. He said, that's gold. And it was. So what happened, we built a sluice box, they called it, and just a frame out of wood, and then we built a ladder to put in it, and there was a creek that run down along this road, and we went down there and shoveled the gravel into that thing, and we found gold nuggets.
Oh, wow.
I said, wow, I'd like to go back over there and do some mining. I said, tell you that.
We found gold nuggets in Alaska too.
Well, yeah, that was a gold mine too.
Yeah, and then
We panned the gold. I said that guy had 2 gold mines. He had this gold mine, then the tourists come in and they panned the gold. When you found gold, you took it into his jewelry shop and he made a brooch for it.
Wonder which one was more profitable.
Yeah, that was fun. I still have that from jewelry.
So we even panned gold. But if I did go back over to the Philippines, that's exactly what I'd want to do. I know right where to go and when to do it.
Well, we have a Filipino girl living here in town.
I thought maybe she come from close to where we were at, but she didn't.
She stays with Francine. Yeah. She's really, really friendly. And
Yeah,
fun to
she's
talk
really
to.
nice. I think she actually came over for the Lutefisk dinner, and someone said she was really excited because she likes fish, and she brought over her own sauce. I wish I had seen it. It would have been really cool to see what it was.
Yeah.
Because if anyone could find something that makes lutefisk edible, I want to know.
Me too.
You can't talk me into Lutefisk.
I
I tell
like
you,
the left
we
side.
sold it in the store up here, and I hated that season. I had to go out and get that Lutefisk, put it on the scale, and of course, then we had to clean everything up every time we sold it.
You couldn't have it touch anything else.
No.
They
And
were
then,
sure
Of
gobbling
course,
it
that
down.
fish come in and there were barrels about that big round, and we had to open them barrels and we had to put water in it and drain the water off because that stuff is cured in lye. Oh, I hated that.
I've seen some pictures of the outside of the store, but how was the inside of the store set up?
The south side of the store was all dry goods,
Okay.
and the north side was all groceries.
Shoes, it had a whole,
Huh?
you had a section of shoes on the dry
Well,
goods side.
we had shoes in the back. We had a butcher shop too. And I discussed this with Blanche Schuler. When Dad, that barber shop business was pretty meek, I tell you. We just didn't have any extra money at all for anything. And then he found out that Butteries owned this store, and they decided they were gonna close Harlem and Hinsdale and, I don't know, some of the stores anyway. And he found out about it, so he went to the bank and found out how much money he could borrow. And so in 1940, when they closed up, he bought that store. And so we were in the store business. And of course, I graduated from high school in 1944, and in May, and in August I got my draft notice, so I wasn't here after that. But anyway, when I got back out of the service, well, he wanted me to go in with him and be a partner with him in the store. Well, I was agreeable to that, but her dad she had her mother and dad come over for dinner one Sunday, and after dinner, her dad went and sat on the davenport, and we were talking, and he was giving me a hard luck story about that place out there. He was trying to sell it. He had to sell it because he couldn't operate it anymore. And he said, I have to sell it. And I don't know what even possessed me. I wasn't even thinking about it. I said, well, also, maybe I should buy your ranch. Damn, his head come round. I had a ranch.
He jumped on that, huh?
Oh yeah, he was waiting for that. I think he set me up for that. I really do. But anyway, I went out there, I didn't know a whole lot about ranching, but boy, oh boy, I loved it.
Still had the store too, so the two girls had to work in the store.
Oh, yeah.
Dwayne would go out helping
He come out to help me in the ranch.
he didn't want to take track. I said, okay, then you get on the bus and you just get yourself right out to the farm. Whoa, that didn't sound too good.
Maybe track sounded a little bit better after that.
Yeah, and he did really well in track, but that's all I had to say was, okay,
Yes.
Well, that was
out you go.
that was good. That was a good deal, I tell you.
Yeah. With the store, did that west wall, did that open up with those big kind of windows, or I see there's all that wood right there.
No.
I'd seen some pictures and it looked different. But maybe it was just a picture.
No, there was just open windows.
That was just, we used that as a show window.
Hmm. Okay.
We
Maybe that's what it
displayed-
was.
Displayed clothing in it.
As you came in the front door, then it was vegetables and
Hmm.
fresh vegetables and things.
And, yeah, we had vegetable case and then all canned stuff and all.
And then further
But I was kind of
east to it.
glad that I did go out there, because I don't know, a young person like that, and them walls were kind of coming in on me. And so I was my own boss out there. That was one of the good things too. Oh, I knew a little bit about farming and ranching, because when I was in high school, my dad didn't have any money to give me to go girling and stuff, so I got a job in the summertime, and I worked for these ranchers out here, Martin Swanson and several of them. Anyway, I knew a little bit about it, but it was kind of funny. Up Christmas, Dwayne come over and we got to talking, and I said, we got to talking about things that happened out there on the ranch. Things really did, things that happened were kind of funny. I said, I told him, I said, do you remember that bull that we bought? I said, the big old black bull, and that old sucker wouldn't stay in any place I put him. Hell, a fence, he'd just put one foot through, put the other foot through, and he'd get himself in the middle of that fence, and he'd stand there scratching back on that wire, you know. And I couldn't drive him anywhere. He didn't want to go, he just wouldn't go. Well, one day, he got down in the brush along the river, and I got the horse out, and I went down there and I started driving him along the river, and the cows had a path. I guess it was that far from the edge. Anyway, I was driving him, and all of a sudden, I don't know whether a willow popped the horse, and he made a jump up alongside him, and he pushed that bull over the edge. And he went down that bank, must have been 35, 40 feet, you know.
Oh, geez.
And I thought, I didn't want to look because I knew he had a broken leg. But I finally walked over and looked down there, and that bull was looking up at me.
What was that for?
What the hell did you do that for? Anyway, we got out of there, and that bull never went through a fence again, and I could go up and I could drive him any place. He must have thought, oh, that guy gets mad. We had everybody in stitches. Oh, God.
That's a great story.
Oh, there was just numerous things like that happened. Of course, I had to feel my way through it. The way that Oswald and Emil farmed out there was the old way. They'd done everything by hand.
Mhm.
I remember him showing me one of his pride things that he had got. He had just bought 100 of these seamless sacks, and they held 2 bushel of wheat, which is 120 pounds, you know. And I said, what do you do with that? Well, he said, I cleaned that wheat and I put it in them sacks. And I said, well, then what do you do with it? Well, he said, we put it up there in the attic.
Yeah, in that red barn.
Oh.
Yeah. I said, how do you do that? Well, put it on your shoulder and climb up there. I said, hell, I can't even lift that much, let alone climb up a ladder. So I had to do that different. And just everything I'd done out there had to be done.
So was that then seed wheat for the next
Yeah.
year?
Yeah, they had a cleaner, and they cleaned their own wheat. And, oh, Lord.
Yeah, those augers and bins are pretty handy anymore.
Oh, yeah. Lord
I
almighty.
can't imagine bucking wheat back in the day.
Oh, yeah, you put it in the truck, you hauled it to the granary and shoveled it in that hole that was just about like that, you know.
Mhm.
I went to work for that guy up there north by Henry Hendrickson's. Oh, shoot, what was his name? Anyway, he took me out there, and the first thing he done, he showed me, we got in his Model T truck. And we went, he took me to the combine. He said, well, we'll put the wheat in the truck, and then he drove me back to the house where the granary was, and there was a little hill there. And he said, now, you'll have to turn around and back up that hill. I said to myself, I was a young kid, I said, he must be joshing me. But he wasn't, you know, Model T didn't have any fuel pump.
Oh, right.
And when you got at a certain angle, it didn't feed gas to the motor anymore, so it quit. I tried every time I went, I'd get just about to the top of that thing, and that thing would quit, and I'd have to turn it around and start it. And then he was pulling that combine with a Caterpillar.
Hmm.
He had been on the county commissioner down here in Glasgow, and they must have had a program, Cat must have had a program of trade. So he bought one of them Caterpillars, and he had it on the front of that combine, and I thought to myself, that really don't make any sense. What in the hell's he got a Caterpillar on the front of a combine for? But I found out that combine had no motor on it. It was an old Hoyt combine, and it had a bull gear in the middle of it, and with chains run to everything, and that bull gear had cleats on it, and when you
Oh, wow.
pulled the combine, well, it turned that big old wheel, and it run everything else on the combine.
Huh. I wonder how that cat probably wasn't very good on the wheat as it was driving through
No.
it.
No,
That's
But
pretty
that-
cool that they designed it, that it worked.
Yeah, it had to have a lot of power to pull that thing,
Yeah, the 40-horse team or one cat.
yeah.
The cat was probably a little simpler.
Yeah, well, and I said I learned a lot out there.
And you don't see equipment like that anymore.
No,
Well, heck, anymore the equipment's so complicated, you almost can't work on it on your own. You got all the
Oh.
electrical equipment, and I've
my
heard.
grandson they have a big ranch down at, or farm down at Ekalaka.
Mm.
And we went down there at harvest time a couple of years ago, and he asked me if I wanted to ride in the combine with him, and I said, yeah, I sure would like to. Well, hell, I got in there, and the thing's air conditioned. There's no steering wheel on it.
No.
Just push the buttons, and it goes on its own, Well, the cutter bar is so long that you have to have wheels on the edge. I said, Jesus, Jason, you sure got it tough. What do you mean, Grandpa? I said, I had a steering wheel and I had to work all the levers to.
No air conditioning, no radio, nothing.
No. No. I said, you got it, old Friday.
And it's sure changing and changing fast. I think they're coming out with some now. I don't know if they're selling them, but they have some that there isn't even a cab. You just let it go. You don't even have to be in it.
Oh,
Self-propelled, huh?
Mhm.
Well, that's like cars now. They're talking about self-propelled cars. I think that's
That's
idiotic.
scary.
Yeah. But I see it really happening with farm equipment probably
Yeah.
pretty soon because they're basically doing it on their own.
Yeah,
I mean, that really, labor's the hardest thing anymore. Not necessarily because it's too expensive, but you can't get anyone to do it.
yeah, I can see that.
Well,
In
that's,
fact, when we went to Yuma every year, that's the first thing Charlotte and I went down. We went down to this center and they could set up a tour for you.
Hmm.
And then we'd go on a tour of because there's 300,000 acres of vegetables down there
Wow.
around Yuma. And it's just so interesting to me because I irrigated and I'd done all the things they did, but absolutely different. Their tractors are all operated by satellite,
Mhm.
All their land is mapped and,
lettuce is their big thing,
well, yeah, they used to be the lettuce capital of the world, iceberg lettuce, but that has changed because there's 25 different species of lettuce. The first thing you did when you got on the bus about 8 o'clock in the morning, they would take you to what they called the garden, and they would parcel off about 10 acres of land and plant vegetables in it. And they'd done this ahead of time so that the vegetables would be ready to pick when we get there. Well, gee whiz, we picked the vegetable. We got off the bus, and the first thing we did, we had to go to a water stand where you wash your hands, and it was water that was had a disinfectant in it. And then they gave us gloves, and they told us that now this container here, when you go pick 2 or whatever the vegetables that they would tell you, like she was supposed to pick cauliflower. Well,
yeah.
she picked 2 cauliflower and put it in this bag, and then you could pick another one for yourself. So they took this vegetable and they put it in these containers, and the colleges was the thing that was supporting this thing. And they took them vegetables out to college and they cooked them, and that's where we ended up for dinner.
Oh.
We ate the vegetables for dinner that we picked.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the people that fixed them were people that were learning to be chefs, and so it was really kind of neat.
oh, they done a good job. They made
Yeah.
salads and
And
cooked
different
them.
varieties. But there was all kinds of tours. I mean, that was one.
Well, we never missed, we always went on the tour.
Yeah, that's something that I really enjoy. I like food.
Oh,
Yeah.
and, you know, even the people that were narrating the thing were really interesting, because these people all lived on the land. They never owned it, nobody owns the land there, it's all reservation.
Oh, really?
It belongs to the Indians. The Indians are smart enough, they won't really do that work. So they lease that land out, and they build casinos, and then they got a job for the year-round, air-conditioned job. They don't have to do the work out in the field.
But the Mexicans come up and do the work.
Yeah, the Mexicans come across the border and do the harvesting. Well, anyway, I just marveled at what they done down there, you know. What had happened, that Colorado River is the river that goes through the Grand Canyon. And of course, the snow melts in the spring, and it runs down there and it washes this dirt into the Colorado, and it takes it downstream, and Yuma is in a sort of a basin, and it would flood that basin and drop that silt there, and yahoo, you got the best soil in the world, you got all kinds of sunshine.
You got the water and everything.
water.
Yeah.
It's a great place to grow.
Yeah.
I wish we had that.
Yeah. Oh,
Of course,
well,
the
it's on
silt
top
up
of
here.
sand, so,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, we're on top of clay. It doesn't work so well.
No.
yeah.
Of course, when it does flood, you get all those cottonwoods. I know there's a lot of people around here that are looking at all the cottonwoods and are like, oh, they're all kind of the same age. You don't see much young ones. Then we got that one good flood a few years ago, and we sure felt bad because they were all out in the alfalfa fields, and we ended up making cottonwood hay.
Yeah.
But we felt so bad because it's like, oh, we like those big trees,
Yeah.
but you can't grow there.
Not in the middle of your field,
No.
huh?
Well, we got them two brothers come on the tour with it. The bus that we get on is just like that bus go up is on the 52 passenger bus. Well, they narrated the thing, and they told the story about, and back in 1940 sometime, them and their folks were living in, let's see, Arizona, no,
I don't know.
Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah, it was down south.
And they were kind of drying out, so they decided that they had to quit, and so they were going to move to California. Well, they got into whatever kind of a jitney they had, and they got as far as Yuma, and the motor blew up on them. So they had to quit, and they stopped, and the grandfather went to work in the mines, and they said he never came back out because there was a it caved in, and he was left up there. Well,
Oh.
the dad he didn't have any money, so he had to go to work in the vegetable fields. So they were still homesteading down there at that time, and so they took up a homestead, 400 acres.
Oh, wow.
And now they control 5,000 acres down there
Jeez.
of vegetables. They just control it. They don't operate. You can't. Two guys couldn't operate that much. They have to have different sections, and
That's a lot of vegetables.
Yeah.
yeah.